Hello, COVID watchers. Today we're talking about complexity. Here's my coffee. Let me sip it. If I'm not talking fast enough yet, I will be. All right, complexity today. I'm just going to start it out with my assertion, which is that I think if your application or the thing that you're building isn't complex yet, then I don't think it's fulfilling its full amount of value. AKA, anything that is, to be sweeping generalization, incoming, anything of value is taking upon itself a high amount of complexity. And that is why it is valuable to me as the user. If I have to take care of the complexity, or if the complexity is given to me and I have to manage it and create and configure it, then it's not providing as much value as it could be. So an interesting thing about complexity is we want things to be not complex as creators of it and consumers of it. But by the time something is easily consumable, the creator of that has had to go through many different phases of adding complexity and managing the complexity of the task within their tool. So ultimately, as web developers, we tend to run from complexity unless we're wanting to look cool, at which point like making really complex stuff is a great way to show how well-rounded you are at thinking, how you can build really complex stuff. Like things get complex, and if you can do complex work, I think that's really great. That means you can create a high amount of value. You can solve complex problems. Now there is an issue there, right? Which is like something really complex that only one person can manage isn't super valuable, at least to the team, but it's valuable to the user. Anyway, I'm not trying to get into that right now. All I'm trying to get at is that sometimes we focus so much on fearing complexity and seeking simplicity that we don't realize that the things that we're making that ultimately provide the most value to our application and to our users are the most complex things that we're managing. So we'll be focusing our efforts over here without realizing that the real value that we have is right here, and we fear this thing that's actually valuable. So anyway, I like complexity. Well, let me rephrase. I actually don't like complexity. I prefer simplicity. Like, right? Who in their right mind would prefer complexity? But I admire complexity. I think complexity is a necessary ingredient for high performing, high value applications. Especially high performing. If you go into anything that's like got performance tuning, that's never simple additions to the code. It's always weird introductions to the code, because what you're trying to do is make harmony between the way that the computer wants to work and the way that your human using that computer wants it to work. So anyway, complexity, it can't be removed from an application. It can only be shifted around. And sometimes I think that complexity is the core value of what you're offering. So we'll build a bunch of things around something that might be simple in concept, but by the time we've built all the meta work and all the UX around that thing, it's very complex. And I think that's okay. If you've built something and you're feeling like it's complex, it might be because it's approaching its maximum value. So anyway, complexity, go out there, look for it, find it, and let me know if you agree. Do you think that the things that are providing a lot of value to you are giving you the complexity, or are taking upon themselves the complexity? And what sort of examples do you have where things are very simple and of high value? And how can we learn from that scenario? Because I tend to see more of the opposite, which is that things that are of a high value have taken upon themselves a high amount of complexity. So anyway, thanks for watching me rant on this video blog about complexity, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.